მათგან დამავალეს უდალოდ და არ ვიცი რა გავაკეთე მართლა.
Thank you very much. So let's try to get immediately into our topic of tonight, Leonardo da Vinci. It is too big of a personality to be able to say everything tonight, but I will give you only a few elements to inspire you to continue the research when you go back home. So those of you who have seen the movie, I'm talking to you first. If you saw the movie, if you read the book, try to cancel it completely from your mind. The truth about Leonardo, who Leonardo was, is much, much more interesting than the stupid movie. Now, starting from the movie, the lecture was supposed to start from another concept. But because we have this beautiful projected image of the Last Supper, and because of the movie, we start right away from here in order to clear our memory from the bad things of the movie. So the movie was talking about a Maddalena. You remember St. John was considered Maddalena. Then there was the V in between, or an M, and so many hidden symbols. Out, that's garbage. That's nothing to do with Leonardo. Now, very briefly, I tell you what Leonardo did with this in a very modest, I don't want to be arrogant, but tell you what the facts are. Then you come up with your conclusions. So St. John is not Magdalena, it's St. John. There is a history before Leonardo. People painted St. John before Leonardo. There is many paintings before. And St. John was always treated this way, in an effeminate way, with the hair this way. He was the person among the apostles who Jesus loved the most. He had always this intimate, beautiful personality, very feminine personality. It was always represented that way. Has nothing to do again with Maddalena. In London, we have lots of the proof of the work of Leonardo preparing for the painting. So we have all the drawings. St. John, in some of the preparation to the painting, is depicted like being totally devastated by what is happening, and he's on the table, like this. He's sort of prostrated on the table. Eventually, Leonardo changes his position, this position. St. John is the one here that is the one suffering the most. Is the most dramatic figure in the painting. And as I said, there are drawings where he's totally on the table, totally prostrated like this. In other previous paintings, St. John is always touching Jesus. He's in a position where he's feeling close with his head to Jesus, with his hands touching Jesus' body. He always was represented as a personal connection directly with Jesus. Instead, Leonardo here places away from Jesus from the previous iconography. And now we go into the symbols. To understand Leonardo, first thing we have to understand are music at the time of Pythagoras. How many of you know Pythagoras? Geographically, where was Pythagoras? You can tell me. Where was Pythagoras? Greece. It was in Crotone, Calabria, South Italy. Do you know this place? Italy connects with Sicily, Crotone. He was born somewhere else in Andosamo, moved to Calabria. In Crotone, he opened this Pythagorean school. The students of Pythagoras were in Calabria. So let's fix this in our memory, because lots of people from the Greek history, you will not find them in Athens. You will not find in Sparta. In fact, you will not find anybody in Sparta. So think of this beautiful town on the sea, Crotone, Calabria. He's there with his students, which were like sort of disciples. You could not be part of Pythagoras' group if you were not a geometra. Geometry was a requirement to be part of Pythagoras scholars. And now we enter what were the numbers. Pythagoras found out some very important things. One is the triangle of Pythagoras with the number 10 inside of it, right? Now, it came this way. Violin, please, violin, our beautiful violinist. There are different ways Pythagoras found this relationship with music. And these numbers with music go straight into Leonardo. I will tell you during the conversation. Prego, come in. So we choose the string because we have the string. But it could be a silversmith with metal and have different size of metals. It could be amphora, wine amphora, different size of wine inside the amphora. Okay, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Camilla.
Camilla is a winner of the competition, fantastic violinist. Now, she will play for us one sound, one string, a la, right?
Yes,
La.
play that. What's
Basic sound. Now she's going to give us an octave. How? By cutting this string in half. So she's going to put a finger in the middle and will give us an octave. So you have a lower la, higher la. What impressed Pythagoras, these basic numbers, these two sounds, are in a relationship to each other. 1, 2. Two very simple numbers, and they loved simple numbers. Simple numbers had lots of meaning for them. Then we have another experiment. We go now for a fifth, and she's going to play the fifth at 2/3 of the string. Let's play now la. La and la mi. octave, fifth. The numbers are 1, 2 for the octave, 2, 3 for the fifth. So keep this in mind. 1, 2, 2, 3. Now, with these numbers in mind, let's look at Jesus right here in the middle. And you see Jesus as a triangle. You can see clearly, right? 1, 2, and the head. One hand, and the head. A triangle. Now, in this triangle, let's pick up the music numbers that come from these perfect intervals. And you put the number 1 on Jesus here, then 2 numbers here, 3 numbers here, and 4 numbers down here. So you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. The total of these numbers, so you put together 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, total is 10. The symbol for Pythagoras is this triangle, and inside these 10 dots, these 10 numbers. In fact, if you are in the Vatican, if you visit the Raffaello frescoes and in the Athens school, you will find that you recognize who Pythagoras is because that's his coat of arms, the triangle and the 10 numbers inside. These numbers were important numbers again, highly symbolic numbers. So number 3, triangle, 4, and the 10 inside. The 4 are important because the 4 indicate earth, water, air, fire. Now, number 4, look at the signs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are arazzi. You know what arazzi are? So I try to say it again, to make sure we don't lose track of the slide. He was listening to sounds. Then they went on and tried to replicate and come up with these 5th octaves, 4th intervals in music and transferring numbers. Now, all this is happening before Christianity. With Pythagoras, we are 2,500 years ago. 2,500 years ago. I should say 2,550 years ago. So, don't put right now triangle, trinity together, because we are talking with Pythagoras before the Trinity. And this will come up later, eventually, with Leonardo, yes or not. Now, the number 4 we said are the symbols of earth, water, air, and fire. You told them that, right? So look at the sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Upstairs, there are those cassettoni. There are 6 by 6, there are 36. 4, the 1, 2, 3, 4, the arazzi. And upstairs, you see those squares in the ceiling? They are 36, 6 by 6, 36. So keep all these numbers because it will make sense later. Then we have 12 apostles. divided in 4 groups. So 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 3 each. In the middle we have Jesus. In the back we have 3 windows, which actually are 1 door, 2 windows. These windows in the back are lined up with the solstice, the equinox, so they are related with the sun. There is a planet and solar alignment. The place where this separates is a room like this, and it's a rectangular room. There is another painting on the other side, and the monks used to eat in this room. It was the dining room of the monks, of the Dominican monks. So what you see here is the same table that the monks had on the other side, on this side, and on this side. So try to think 4 again, 4 tables. This door was not there. There were no windows up here like this room. And Leonardo actually made them open windows. The monks opened the windows for that, for the painting. This was higher, and it is higher, and each character is 1.5 times our measure. So this painting was integral to the Dominican daily life. Leonardo was a very slow painter. He took a lot of time. Sometimes he worked entire days non-stop, he wouldn't eat, and some days he would only retouch, a little brush. And he worked with the Dominicans, with the monks. They were paying for it, and they were philosophically working on it together. So when we look for hidden things, misuse things, remember this, how powerful the Dominicans were, and how this work was actually done together. Now you notice there is no chalice, right? The chalice is missing. Again, I go to the people with the movie. There is no chalice. But there are lots of wine glasses, all half full. Wine is a very important symbol for Leonardo, for Leonardo's life. Leonardo himself owned a vineyard. It was given to him by Ludovico il Moro Sforza, gave him as a gift a vineyard, which was 100 arms wide and 300 arms long. So let's look at the wine. The wine has not been touched. They have not drank yet. They have not drank anything. And what they are describing is not a moment of the Eucharist. This is not the wine in the Eucharist. But this is a specific dramatic moment when Jesus tells the apostles, In truth, I tell you, one of you will betray me. So this is the phrase. Jesus is saying this major statement. Leonardo studies at this point perspective and sound. Now, perspective, you know, was the main thing of the Renaissance, Leon Battista Alberti. They all were friends, they all knew each other, and Brunelleschi had done the cathedral in Florence. And one of the issues with perspective of Leonardo was that we have two eyes and not one. So how do you have a perspective, proper perspective, when you have two eyes? So in this case, we know for sure also because we have found the traces of a nail where Leonardo put a string and put then all the directions. So the center is the right eye of Jesus. The right eye is the center of the visual perspective. And that explains itself. Then there is another center, another perspective, is the sound. Leonardo wrote that he was physically conscious, that if I speak here, she will hear me first, and then he will hear me after, and the guy down there will be the last one to hear me. Now, everything is coming from the word. The word is an inheritance from the Jewish culture. The word is sound. So the Christian culture, the European culture, the Jewish culture, these cultures, they originate from the word, the verbo, they originate from a sound. The origin of this culture is always a sound. And today we talk about the Big Bang. There is a major connection with this. The Big Bang. The theory of the Big Bang is an explosion, is a sound. The word was a sound as well. That's a connection that is interesting to today's researchers. So here we have San Bartolomeo, down here, which stood up from the chair, just like this. It's like, what happened? What did you say? Because he's the last one. He has doubts. Did I hear well? Did I not? San Bartolomeo. San Simone, Simon is over here. Again, he's the older one. And he's asking the same thing, opening his hands. Is it right what I just heard? Next to him we have Judah, the cousin of Jesus. He's a family member of Jesus. And they seem to say like, yeah, I think you're right. That's what we just heard. So we go back here. We have Saint Andrew, Saint James the Younger, Saint Andrew. There is a wave of sounds and emotions to which they respond. So Saint James the Young is reaching with the hand to Saint Peter. To say, Peter, what did you hear? What happened? Tell me something. Peter, in the meanwhile, is going to Saint John, here, pulling Saint John. Say, John, what happened? Who is it? Do you know something about it? Then there is the famous knife that Peter holds in the back. This knife comes from the Bible because when Jesus was arrested, Peter, with a knife or a larger knife, sometimes described as a sword, cut the ear of one of the servants of the high priest Caiaphas. On this side, we have John, which keeps his hands like this. Look at his hands right in the middle here. John, you see there? Between Judas' hand, Jesus' hand, there you have the two hands of John like this. And here it's like John is the one that knows that there is nothing to do. Like Mary, they all accept this destiny of Jesus. So there is this sense of saying, yes, this is what it is, and there is nothing we can do to solve the problem. So the figure of the hands of John are very important because they are in between two very active hands, Judah and the right hand of Jesus. Now, normally Judah will be presented on this side of the tables, because Petrus did not want to have Judah next to all the other apostles. So he would sit here. Normally he would be right here on this side of the table. And Judah holds the money in his hands. On his right hand, he's holding the money. And there is a salt container that he knocks down because he's surprised. He's like, how does he know that? Because the betrayal has to yet happen. It will happen the day after. So I will say very quickly, we have one hand holding the weight, surprise, standing. Two hands, St. Andrew saying, no, it cannot be, I will never do that. The right hand of St. James touching St. Andrew like this, so physical connection to this apostle. The other hand touching St. Peter touching St. George, St. John. They all are connected with their hands. The only one who has no connection is Judah with the two hands over here. Now let's look at the hand on this side. So Simon is saying, did I hear well? Is that right? I always say that maybe. I'm not surprised by that because I'm old enough to know that people can do bad things. So his hands go next and touch the hand of the cousin of Jesus, the other Judah, who seems to agree with him. And then we have St. Matthew. Matteo.
Šodienas Mātijas negribas.
Matteo. Now, remember, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4 times. Now, these three and these three, this is the most dramatic place because Matteo is turning the back to Jesus, to everybody else. He's like this. It's a very dramatic position. But what compensates all this are his hands. They are totally on this side. So his body's face is over there. The hands connect to the rest of the scene straight to Jesus. Then we have San Filippo, Saint Philip there, saying with the right hand, is it me, Jesus? Is it possible that it's me doing that? He's accusing himself of the unthinkable. Filippo. James the older, completely surprised because he's one of the first to hear from this side, and the surprise is such that he is speechless. And then we have San Tommaso, St. Thomas, with a finger like this. That's the finger that St. Thomas will use to touch Jesus after resurrection. So he's saying, I cannot believe it. I don't believe it. I can't believe it. And then Jesus will tell him after, touch here. It's true. I'm reborn now. Resurrection. So when you see these things, remember sound. The sound. They react to sounds. All the distances among them are all related with the sounds and proportion that we found in music. Now look at the back. There is mountains, right? Now, nothing in Leonardo is there by fantasy. There is never something that is there to fill in something. Pure fantasy. So think at the direction, the room. This is north, that is south. Here are the Alps. Down there is Sicily, Africa. In the Alps, if you were the citizens of Milano, and you were in Milano right now, you have plains, a pianura, we call it pianura padana. There is no mountains on this side, south. But there are mountains in the north side. And there are specific mountains there. There is specific mountains there north of Milano. Milanese kept a rule until modern times. So as a citizen of Milano, wherever you were in town, you were always able to know where to go, east, west, south, or north, by looking at the mountains. Those mountains, if you look at the line of mountains, at the sunsets or the moon rising in the winter time, you will find the source of light that comes from there, from the sun of those mountains, and if you take the profile of the mountains, if you look at the mountains and you draw the profile, the skyline of the mountains, and you look at all the apostles, they all reflect the skyline of the mountains. So when people tell you that Leonardo liked nature, that he was constantly in nature, don't think of this little child that loves the flowers, takes the flowers, smells the flowers, and gives the flowers. His love of the nature is a profound connection with nature. The nature for him was so important that those two Madonnas you see there, let's call them Madonna of Paris, and the London Madonna, okay? We know that there is something wrong about these Madonnas. You know that, right? Okay. This Madonna is for sure Leonardo. Because if you look at the stones, at the flowers, at the plants, everything is exactly as it is in nature. Those stones, if you take scientists, geologists, they will tell you that those are exactly reality. What happened there is that he was supposed to paint also two prophets on the side, two figures, two additional figures. In the contracts. But he decided not to do that. He stopped there, said this is perfect. When they had to pay him, they wanted to pay him for 3 figures and not for 5. So Leonardo said, no, I take my painting, and didn't want to. They went to court, lawyers. It was a problem. It was a big problem. So we believe that he took the painting was sold to somebody else, and then he worked on this other painting. And some students completed the painting and made the flowers different, not to make a copy. Now that grotta is a grotta of St. John, of San Giovanni. The grotta, the cave. And this grotta is on this side here, behind this wall, on the right side, is next to a town of Lecco, a little further north. And it used to be an old temple to the sun, to Apollo. It's a very ancient ritual site. So again, if you want to look at the connection with nature or the sun, look at these paintings and you will find there again no fantasy, nature, exactly reproduction of nature. Let's go back here. Now we have light coming from the back, from the 3 windows. The light that comes from the back makes everything dark because the light is coming from the back.
თქვენ შეგიძლიათ დაინახოთ, რომ ფანჯრებიდან გამოსული სინათლე ეფინება ყველაფერს ისე, რომ წინ რაც არის ყველაფერი ბნელი ჩანს.
From this side, he opens the 3 windows, and so we have this as a source of light from the other 3 windows.
მარცხენა მხარეს ლეონარდო აღებს ამ ფანჯარას, ის რომ კიდევ ერთი სინათლის წყარო გვაქვს მარცხენა მხრიდან.
And Jesus, who represents the Trinity, 1, 2, and 3, he is the motor of everything. And here comes the philosophy that Leonardo had discovered through Plotinus, through something I will tell you quickly later, ancient philosophy, where God emanates the world.
ასე რომ შეგიძლიათ დაინახოთ, რომ იესო ასე ვთქვათ ზრდავი არის ამ ყველაფრის და ალბათ ლეონარდო გამოიყვანა ეს უფრო ძველი წარმოდგენებიდან იმის შესახებ, რომ ღმერთი ემანაციას განიცდის და თითქოს ეფირება ყველაფერს.
Now, when we say emanates, means I'm not creating. There is no active act of creation.
როდესაც ემანაციაზე ვსაუბრობთ, არ გულისხმობთ შექმნის კონკრეტულ აქტს.
But the world comes naturally out of it. So everything we know comes from God naturally. So God is immobile. He doesn't move. There is nothing he's doing.
ემანაცია გულისხმობს იმას, რომ სამყარო ბუნებრივად გამომდინარეობს, ბუნებრივად ხდება ღმერთისგან, ენერგიის განფენის გამო.
There is no will, no unwill. It just is.
ღმერთი უძრავია და არ არსებობს არავითარი სურვილი ან სურვილის ნაკლებობა, ის უბრალოდ არის.
The left hand in this position is saying, yes, God the Father, I accept my destiny.
მარცხენა ხელი, რომ ისეთ პოზიციაში რომელშიც იესოს უჭირავს, თითქოს ამბობს, დიახ, მამა ღმერთო, მე ვიგებ იმას, რაც უნდა მოხდეს.
The right hand is the human hand that says, why is this happening? This is going to be hard. The hand is like this. This hand
მარჯვენა ხელი თითქოს არის მისი ადამიანური ბუნების გამოხატულება და თითქოს კითხულობს, რატომ უნდა მოხდეს ასე, რატომ არის ასე გამიზნული, რომ ასე ხდებოდეს.
This hand you can find in the Annunciation by Antonello da Messina. You know that?
ხელი შეგიძლიათ დაინახოთ.
Antonello da Messina from Sicily.
ანტონელო და მესინას ხარებაში.
Antonello da Messina went to Venice and was making some important paintings in Venice and had an influence over Florence and Leonardo as well.
ანტონელო წასული იყო ვენეციაში, სადაც შექმნა ძალიან მნიშვნელოვანი ნამუშევრები და ასევე განიცდიდა ფლორენციის და ლეონარდოს გავლენას.
So if you go home, go and look at that Madonna, and you will see the unique, because you have only the Madonna, and the symbol is a triangle pyramid, exactly also like here, and the perfect pyramid, not the Egyptian pyramid, but the pyramid with the triangle in the base, and the same pyramid you see here. I will try to quickly show to you, and then you check later. Here, you don't have just a triangle, but you have a pyramid. This is a
მადონაში გვაქვს საფუძვლად დაფარულ სიმბოლოდ პირამიდა. არა ესეთი პირამიდა, რომელიც ეგვიპტიდან წარმოგიდგენია, არამედ ნამდვილი პირამიდა, რომელსაც ფუძე აქვს სამკუთხედი. და აქ შეგიძლიათ დაინახოთ, რომ თითქოს სამკუთხედი ფუძეზე არის აგებული პირამიდა.
So to understand some of the colors, also the oil, the tears, the brightness of the colors, look at Antonello da Messina, look at San Sebastian, and look at the Madonna, the Annunciation.
ასე რომ იმისთვის რომ გაიაზროთ ზოგი დეტალი, მაგალითად წინვალებაც რემოები და ასე შემდეგ შეგიძლიათ ნახოთ ანტონელო, სან სებასტიანი და მადონა.
I briefly said something about the pyramids. You all know the pyramids in Egypt, right?
ჩვენ ვახსენეთ პირამიდები, ყველა მისი თავგად პირამიდები ეგვიპტეში.
This is a pyramid. Let's assume this is a pyramid, right?
წარმოიდგინეთ, რომ ეს პირამიდაა.
In Egypt, what do we have down here? Triangle or square?
ფუძე რა გვაქვს ეგვიპტეში? პირამიდის ფუძე რა არის?
Square. So, is it a pyramid or it is not a pyramid?
მაშინ ეს პირამიდაა თუ არ არის პირამიდა?
You tell me, is a pyramid or it is not? Yes? Yes. Now, it's not, because a pyramid is triangle, triangle, triangle. That's what defines a pyramid. And people like Leonardo, people like Leonardo, people like the Egyptians will not make a mistake like that. They will not accept anything less than perfection. So if you do a pyramid, it is a pyramid, unless it is not a pyramid. The Egyptians did not build pyramids. We call them pyramids, but if you look into their hieroglyphics, they have two pyramids. One above the earth, which we see. The other pyramid is underground. We don't see it. So it is an octagon. It's a perfect octagon. 4 and 4.
Συναντούაში ეგვიპტური პირამიდა, რაც წარმოგვიდგენია 4 ხედების ფუძით, არ არის პირამიდა. პირამიდა გულისხმობს იმას, რომ ყველა სამკუთხედებისგან შედგება და რაც გვაქვს ეგვიპტის შემთხვევაში, ეს არის სინამდვილეში 8 კუთხა ოქტაგონი, რომელსაც აქვს, რომ წარმოადგინოთ ერთი პირამიდა ზევიდან და ერთი პირამიდა ქვევიდან.
Now, where comes music? At the time of Leonardo, you studied the trivio and quadrivio. You know trivio, quadrivio? No. Okay. This was at the university learning at the time of Leonardo. Leonardo had excellent school. They always tell you that he was a legitimate son and that we didn't know where he came from, or a contadina mother, they all tell stories. He wasn't a legitimate son, but he was an illegitimate son of very important people. Therefore, nobody could say who really was the father and the mother. So a notary signed the adoption for him. Da Vinci, the notary, is not the...
Leonardo da Vinci იყო კანონიშვილი, თუმცა ძალიან მნიშვნელოვანი მშობლების უკანონიშვილი იყო, ამიტომ ნოტარიუსმა ის გააფორმა როგორც შვილად აყვანილი ამის მიხედვით.
Now, think of Leonardo. All his life, he dressed always in dramatic red, like a cardinal. He dressed always like a prince. He walked like a prince. He behaved like a prince.
წარმოიდგინეთ, როგორ გამოიყურებოდა ლეონარდო. მას მუდმივად დრამატულად წითელი ტანსაცმელი ეწვა, ის საუბრობდა და დადიოდა როგორც უფლისწული.
He was recognized like a prince. Kings and princes wanted him in their court, and he was not producing. It wasn't that because he was producing something they wanted to use him. They wanted to have a prince. So think of this, you don't become a genius because you all of a sudden it's a miracle. You work on it when you are very young. And he had excellent teachers throughout his life and excellent friends. Mathematicians, philosophers, sculptors, painters, they were excellent friends. Politicians, leaders, princes, dukes, enlightened, educated. It was a group of highly educated people.
თუმცა ამასთან ერთად მან ძალიან ბევრი მუშაობა ამაზე მიიღო შესანიშნავი განათლება და მისი გარშემოყოფები იყვნენ ძალიან კარგი მხატვრები, ფილოსოფოსები, განათლებული და განსხვავებული ასე ვთქვათ ადამიანები, ლიდერები, პოლიტიკოსები და ასე შემდეგ.
So the high level of learning included mathematics,
კარგი განათლება გულისხმობდა mathematics,
geometry.
geometrias.
Once you passed that, then you had astronomy. And then music. So music was the highest form of learning. It was considered very difficult, but not difficult because of practice, but difficult conceptually. To understand music was considered the most difficult. And music was all related to the planets, to the orbits. Every sound had a direct planet. At the time, they considered all stars. They didn't know the difference between a star, a planet, or the moon. They all had the same status. Leonardo writes clearly that he wants to take painting
ასე რომ მუსიკა იყო განათლების ყველაზე მაღალი ფორმა, არა იმიტომ რომ ის ბევრ პრაქტიკას მოითხოვდა, არამედ მისი კონცეფციის გამო, რომელიც რთულად იყო გასაგები. მუსიკა უკავშირდებოდა პლანეტებს, ვარსკვლავებს, რომლებიც იმ პერიოდში არ იყო ფაქტიურად ერთმანეთისგან განსხვავებული და ყველაფერი ვარსკვლავებად აღიქმებოდა.
He's going to bring painting higher than music. He's the first one that makes this statement. He says, my paintings are going to be so good they will be superior to music itself.
Leonardo პირველი იყო, რომელმაც განაცხადა, რომ მისი მხატვრობა იქნებოდა უფრო მაღალი დონის ვიდრე მუსიკა და მანამდე ასე არ იყო. ის პირველი იყო, რომელმაც დაუშვა ასეთი იდეა.
The weakness of music is that when you hear music, then music disappears, and then you forget.
მუსიკის სუსტი მხარე ის არის, რომ როდესაც თქვენ გესმით მუსიკა, შემდეგ ის ქრება და თანდათან ივიწყებთ.
If we listen to good music, listen to Bach, the first time, you don't understand anything. The second time, less. Third time, you have to listen 10 times, 20 times to understand a little bit out of music.
როდესაც პირველად გვესმის მუსიკა, ჩვენ ბევრი რამე არ გვესმის. შემდეგ მეორედ უფრო ნაკლები რაღაც არ გვესმის და 10 ჯერ, 20 ჯერ და უფრო მეტჯერ მოსმენის შემდეგ ვიგებთ ძალიან ბევრს მუსიკისგან.
For Leonardo, he says, my music is in front of you at the same time.
Leonardo ამბობდა, რომ ჩემი მუსიკა თქვენს წინაშეა ერთდროულად.
And he actually says something specific. He says, when good music is in front of you and you don't understand, you are not forced to accept your ignorance because music is gone.
ასევე ერთ სპეციფიურ რაღაცას ამბობდა ლეონარდო, რომ როდესაც კარგი მუსიკაა თქვენს წინაშე, რომელიც თქვენ არ გესმით, თქვენ შეგიძლიათ რომ ეს მომენტი გაიაროთ და არ ხართ ვალდებული რომ აღიაროთ თქვენი უცოდინრობა ამ შემთხვევაში, რადგან მუსიკა გაივლის.
And if we are in front of Leonardo's paintings and we don't understand the painting, this music, it's our problem, it's our ignorance. We confront our ignorance, we can't escape from it.
როდესაც ჩვენ ლეონარდოს ნახატის პირისპირ ვიმყოფებით, ამ დროს არ შეგვიძლია რომ არ ვაღიაროთ ჩვენი უცოდინრობა და მის წინაშე აღმოჩნდებით პირისპირ.
Now, Leonardo was famous for being, if you had a party, you wanted to have Leonardo. He was fun to be around. He was intelligent. Sorry, I may have altered this microphone.
ლეონარდო ისეთი ადამიანი იყო, რომელიც უნდათ რომ წვეულებაზე ყოლოდათ. ის იყო ძალიან საინტერესო განსართობად და უბრალოდ როდესაც წვეულება გქონდათ, გენდომებოდათ რომ თქვენი სტუმარი ლეონარდო ყოფილიყო.
He went to Milano specifically because of a wedding. He was a great wedding planner. He would organize fantastic parties with shows, stage, stars and planets would move around. Singers would come out with technological systems like stage, like.
ის მილანში სპეციალურად მისთვისაც კი იყო ჩასული, რომ ქორწილი დაეგეგმა. ის იყო ქორწილების ფანტასტიკური დამგეგმავი, სადაც მაგალითად ვარსკვლავები მოძრაობდა თითქოს დარბაზის გარშემო. ადამიანები ტექნოლოგიების სწავლობით უეცრად გამოდიოდნენ, შეეროდნენ წარმოქმნის შესაძლებლად და ასე შემდეგ.
He created a robot with like 60 mechanisms inside that would move automatically, open, steam will come out, and flowers will come from the body of the robot for Beatrice d'Este.
Beatrice d'Este ამასეთი რობოტი შექმნა, რომელსაც 60 მექანიზმი ჰქონდა შიგნით, და როდესაც ის თვითონ გადაადგილდებოდა, მიდიოდა, უშვებდა ბოლოს და შემდეგ ყოველს მიერთებდა.
The canon, the music with canon like Bach, all the counterpoint music. He created an instrument, I will show the pictures there eventually later once you see it, where is a machine with flutes coming out, rotating it, the music, the melodies start as a canon in different directions. It's like shooting music in different directions. It's called canon with a double N, like a cannone, like canon, canon.
Which one are we doing?
Which one?
Yeah. Which one is that first? Which one is that first?
Maybe this one?
These two together. To the face. To the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that one. Now, he had a lyra, his own instrument, which he made with silver in the shape of a horse face. Specifically to obtain some sounds and a depth of sound. And he would create melodies, improvise melodies, and play to entertain his friends with improvisations. His music contained poetry and music. Now, those of you who know, you know do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do you know those notes, right? Yeah. Guido d'Arezzo, just before Leonardo, had invented a system from the prayer of St. John. The prayer is like this: ut, do, ut, quent laxis, re, sonare fibris, mi, ragestorum, fa, molituorum, solve, solve polluti, la vireatum, sancte Ioannes, si. So here, do, ut, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si. These names were given by Guido d'Arezzo. And Leonardo loved it. So one of the poems in music, and I believe you're going to do L'amore mi fa solazzare. So this starts with l'amore, amore, and the note is re. Then mi, fa. Allora, one at a time. So amore, amore, then mi, fa, sol, la, sa, re. In Italian, this means love, makes me as a person, makes me feel good. Mi fa solazzare. Fa makes me, the person, Italian me. So this is a poem. These are words with their own meaning, and they are the notes at the same time. So you have these exact notes, re, mi, fa, sol, la, re, integrated in the poem of the Italian words. Prego.
Should we play and sing at the same time?
Yeah. You do. You do the melody before, and then you, and then, okay. From this, variations, improvisations come from this theme. Next, I would like to do the sola. Sola, 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 fe, mi, fa.
Okay.
Sol, la,
Okay.
sol, la, fe. It's not fa, it's fe. He writes fe. This is his writing. We're reading exactly what Leonardo did. So, sol, sol, la, sol, la, fe. We stay with a note. Fe, mi, fa. This means sol, la, fe. Only faith, mi, fa, makes me feel good, gives me hope. It's only faith. So he creates these very intense poems, mixed, putting the text, the notes, the names of the notes inside the music. Now, I will need your help for something else. You hold this. The telephone, who has my phone? If you are tired, I stop now. So you just tell me anytime you're tired, because I've been in this issue since I was a very young man. So for me, I can never stop. I love it. But whoever gets tired, feel free to leave, and then I understand I have to stop. You know, don't worry about it. So if you can have the microphone next to me. Here. Mi tieni qua il microfono, proprio qua. You all have phones, right? How many of you don't have a phone? we have a phone. How many of us don't know how a phone works? I use the phone every day, right? But we have no clue how this phone works. The technology inside the phone is away from our knowledge. We don't know what's inside this phone. We use the phone for many stupid things. These are incredible technology used poorly, very poorly by us. If Leonardo was alive today, he would tell us, what are you doing, idiots? You have such an amazing instrument and you waste your time watching these stupid things. Today, we are far from the brain of the people that actually produce these things. Their brain, their mathematical research is so far, they have come up with formulas to understand the world that we have no clue, no idea. At the time of Leonardo, they were connected. They spoke to each other. They ate together. They exchanged information. The knowledge was shared. A painter, a priest, a sculptor, a poet, a political leader, a banker, they all understood this concept. Now, quickly, you know better than me what happened here when Constantinople fell. From 14, 17, 20, 53, Constantinople fell. And all those scholars, Greek scholars, moved back to Europe. Lots of them went in the towns where people spoke Greek, which was, for example, Messina in Sicily. I'll give you a quick example. Pietro Bembo, a cardinal from Venezia, from one of the richest families of Venezia, was sent for 2 years with other friends to study in Messina original Greek texts, as if it was Oxford. Today we send people to Oxford to study Greek, for example. At the time, from Venezia, where they had already lots of scholars, they sent to Messina because there was this wave of scholars.
ერთ-ერთი მაგალითი გვაქვს, როდესაც ვენეციის წარჩინებული ოჯახიდან სასწავლებლად აგზავნდნენ მესინაში. მაშინ როცა უამრავი მკვლევარი იყო ვენეციაშიც და როგორც დღევანდელ დღეს მაგალითად ოქსფორდში აგზავნით ადამიანებს სასწავლებლად, ასე გზავნდნენ მესინაში.
So these people were really fascinated by what they were discovering from the old times. And now I will give you two concepts, and we close with those two concepts. One is the gold ratio. And because in Leonardo you have the divina proporzione, the divine proportion. Everything has a divine proportion. What is a divine proportion? And to understand divine proportion, we have to understand the music, which you already did, Pythagoras, golden ratio, and Archimedes pi. So the Pythagoras golden ratio, we call it the phi. Archimedes pi, are you saying Georgian? P, the P Greco, the P. And the Fibonacci, there are two Leonardo Fibonacci as well. Because Leonardo studied in one of the schools that were created, invented by Fibonacci. And that's another important element. These three things converge into Leonardo. So let's go with Pythagoras and the phi with a telephone. If you look at the telephone, the credit cards, don't have this shape by accident. They actually made them with a golden ratio. This is a golden ratio.
უბრალოდ ტელეფონს რო შევხედოთ, შევამჩნევთ, რომ ის უბრალოდ შემთხვევით არ არის ასეთი ფორმის, ის შექმნილია ოქროს კვეთის მიხედვით.
I will be quick because it's not easy. If you don't understand, then I explain to each one of you individually later. Take this rectangular and cut in half. Maybe here. Cut in half, you have two squares, right? Then you cross a line from here to here, and you have two triangles. You see that, right? Two squares, two triangles. With a compass, you take this side and you go down like this. Yeah, you put a semicircle. You put a semicircle with a compass. This compass touches the line of the triangles. The hypotenusa, we call it. Okay. This compass touches the hypotenusa. There is a specific spot where it touches the hypotenusa. Remember where that spot is, right? Now, from this side, you take the spot where the hypotenusa has been touched from the other compass with another size of compass. You do again another semicircle. The semicircle comes down here, approximately where my finger is. So what happened now? We have two rectangular. One is this rectangular, another rectangle is down here. The proportion between this rectangular and this, so this line has a ratio of an infinite number, the phi number, 1.618, and you can continue forever. It will never end. When you find an infinite number, for a smart person like Pythagoras, for a smart person like Archimedes, for a smart person like Leonardo, and I say again Archimedes. Archimedes, you know where he was from?
Italy.
Siracusa. Siracusa, the tip of Sicily, which is next where we are in IBLA. When these people find a concept that is infinite, the connection with God and the search of God is automatic. And they were also very dangerous concepts. Filippo Giordano Bruno, do you know who he is? Filippo Giordano Bruno, which his name was Filippo Bruno, and he was from Napoli. Filippo Bruno became Giordano because he became a priest. So as a priest, as a monk, he got the name Giordano. He was burned, he was killed. He was burned for his insistence in believing in the infinite of the universe, or the infinite of earth. The infinite, the concept he would not give up was the infinite. And the church killed him in the year 1600, February. Copernicus, Galileo, they all were risking their lives for these concepts. I'm saying this so that you understand why Leonardo never went to Rome. He went to Rome to visit, but his life was always Pavia, Venice, Milano, France, places where the church could not command because he was afraid.
ამას ვიტყვი ვამბობთ, რომ წარმოედგინოთ, რატომ არ მედიოდა ლეონარდო რომში. რომში მიდიოდა უბრალოდ ასათვალიერებლად, მაგრამ სამუშაოდ საწყრებლად რჩებოდა მილანში, ვენეციაში, საფრანგეთში, ისეთ ადგილებში, სადაც ეკლესია ვერ მიწვდებოდა ასეთი კონცეფციების გამო.
And while we say that, did you know that Galileo Galilei was a musician?
იცოდით, რომ გალილეო გალილეი მუსიკოსი იყო?
The father of Galileo, the brother of Galileo, were professional musicians.
გალილეო გალილეის მამა და ძმა პროფესიონალური მუსიკოსები იყვნენ.
And they were heavily involved with the theory of music. Giuseppe Zarlino, which is the one that created the harmonic sound, the system of music as we know today, was a teacher of the father of Galileo, and they had major intellectual fights with the father of Galileo about music theory. Giuseppe Zarlino.
ჯოზეფო ზაგლინო იყო ის პიროვნება, რომელმაც შექმნა მუსიკალური სკოლა, რომელშიც სწავლობდა გალილეო გალილეის მამა და მათ შორის კამათები მიმდინარეობდა მუსიკის კონცეფციასთან დაკავშირებით.
So music was in Galileo Galileo's brain. Einstein, did you know that he was a musician?
ასე რომ გალილეო გალილეის გონებაში იყო მუსიკა. იცოდით, რომ აინშტაინი მუსიკოსი იყო?
Many times we don't think about the connection of music and science. It's a very strong connection. Let's go back to our system. So here we have a rectangular on this side. This rectangle is another golden ratio rectangle because you can do the same thing. You can divide and make again another rectangular, and this is infinite, and they all have the 1.618 infinite relation.
ასე რომ ის მართკუთხედი, რომელიც ჩვენ მივიღეთ, ასევე ოქროს კვეთის არის, რადგანაც ის შეგვიძლია ასეთივე მეთოდით გავყოთ შემდეგ ორ ოთხკუთხედად, შემდეგ ის კიდევ გავყოთ და ასე შეგვიძლია უსასრულოდ გავაგრძელოთ.
And then again with the compass, if you put inside each of these rectangular a semicircle like this, and in the next rectangle, you obtain infinite spiral like this.
თუ თქვენ ფარგლით მოხაზავთ ნახევარწრეს ყოველ ამ მართკუთხედში, მაშინ თქვენ მიიღებთ უსასრულო სპირალს.
So, infinite spirals, infinite rectangular, proportion 1.6 infinite number, so never exactly precise. Every painting of Leonardo, I printed some things here, you can find exactly all these circles, squares, spirals, everything is there. Who did that before Leonardo? The Greeks. If you see a Greek temple in Sicily, if you see the Parthenon, you know how it is. The Parthenon was made this way. This is the front of the Parthenon. Another rectangle would be up here where the triangle is. Another golden ratio rectangle we create every 2 columns. So you find this number, the phi, in architecture, in sculpture, in paintings. In Leonardo, in every part of the painting, everywhere you find these numbers. Now, when you look at the Parthenon, a Greek temple, the base seems to us straight, right? Because otherwise, if it wasn't straight, the columns would fall. No, it's actually an arch. And this is another concept that Leonardo was passionate about. The straightening of the curve, the squaring of the circle. This concept has fascinated lots of people in history. Leonardo particularly. You remember the Vitruvian Man, right? And Vitruvian Man, you have what? A square, like this. And then if you open the leg, with one leg that he opens this way, a circle, right? He was so precise. The man that he featured, in fact, we believe was his face, and the proportion between the lip and the nose, the proportion between the nose and here, from here and the forehead, it's all 1.618. Again, the golden ratio appears everywhere. Vitruvio, so we're talking about thousands of years before Leonardo, right? Over 1,000 years before. even 1500 before Leonardo, they had already made these men. I printed also a few pictures of that, of men in that form, drawn before Leonardo. Sorry, I apologize, I forgot. She's a genius. Thank you. Amazing. Bravo. Bravo. Okay, so these are important concepts. I hope I don't lose you here. A straight line, a curve, a square, a circle. Archimedes was a genius because he was able to measure the circle. He found the relationship between the straight line, the circle, and the diameter inside. And he came up with a number, the P, the 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, and the infinite number. So this P number is an infinite number that tries to square a circle. How do you square a circle? You have a circle, and then you put a square inside and another square outside, right? And then you know that the circumference of the circle is in between the two squares, right? Instead of the square, put now pentagons, and the space becomes smaller. Then instead of a pentagon, put an octagon. Make one with 10 lines. So a polygon with 10 sides. And you will see that the space diminishes. The more sides you make, the more you get closer to the circle. What do you have inside? Triangle. All this triangle inside the square, the circle. So you measure the circle by measuring all the triangles inside. Thank you again. Now, you have a circle, you have a radius. If you take the radius and you unfold against the circle, so circle, radius, you have 6. You create a polygon with an hexagon. But if you take the golden ratio of the radius, so in the circle, instead of taking the radius, you take the golden proportion, then you have a polygon with 10 sides. 10, the Pythagorean number. So the golden ratio of the radius of a circle coincides with the favorite total number of Pythagoras, the number 10. All these things are in the brain of Leonardo and his people at the same time. All these numbers were fascinated. That was pure philosophy. They were crazy about these connections. So they tried to figure out, how do we make a line and a curve coincide, because the trick, the formula, is this infinite number.
რომ წარმოვიდგინოთ წრის დიამეტრი, რომელიც შეგვიძლია წრის გარშემო მოვხაზოთ, ახლა შეგვიძლია წარმოვიდგინოთ დიამეტრის ოქროს კვეთა. და თუ ჩვენ ოქროს კვეთას რამდენჯერმე გავამეორებთ წრის გარშემო, მაშინ მივიღებთ 10 კუთხა ფიგურას. და 10 არის პითაგორას რიცხვი. ყველა ეს დამოკიდებულება აღმართოვანებელი იყო ლეონარდოსთვის.
And now we go towards the end. So, Leonardo says that to this question, how to square the circle, how to straighten the line, and Leonardo says, maybe this could be an answer.
ასე რომ ეს ყველაფერი მისთვის ძალიან საინტერესო იყო, როგორ შეგვიძლია ოთხკუთხედად გადავაქციოთ წრე, როგორ შეგვიძლია ხაზით მოვხაზოთ წრე და ასე შემდეგ. და შესაძლოა ამისთვის პასუხი გვაქვს ამ კითხვაზე.
So with his friend Pacioli, he had drawn 60 solids. And so you can see that he had an amazing interest for these things, to produce 60 of these miniature paintings. All hanging from a string. Again, it's there. You find isocaedro hanging from a string. Why from a string? Because Piero della Francesca, in one of his paintings, one of his most famous paintings, had an egg coming down from the chapel. Continue? Or, Pacioli was a mathematician friend, very good friend of Leonardo, for whom he painted these all the solids.
ასე რომ პაჯოლი იყო ლეონარდოს მეგობარი მათემატიკოსი, რომელმაც ასეთი რაღაც გააკეთა, მან 60 ნახატი შექმნა, რომლებიც ეკიდა თოქზე.
You find the image of these solids. They are hanging like this because Piero della Francesca had used in a painting another symbol, the egg. He was painting one egg because at the time they thought the egg of the struzzo, of the ostrich, was giving birth with the rays of the sun. So the sun will make the egg produce life by direct rays.
ეს ყველაფერი დაკავშირებულია კვერცხის ფორმასთან, რადგან ფრანჩესკას ერთ-ერთ ნახატში ჩვენ ვხედავთ კვერცხის ფორმას, რომელიც ზევიდან ჩამოდის და ეს კვერცხი არის სირაქლემის კვერცხი, რომელიც დაკავშირებულია მზესთან. მაშინ ჯეროდათ რომ ის განასახიერებს იმ მომენტს, თუ როგორ ამოდის მზე.
So these were like the eggs of knowledge, of life, of divinity. Again, every time Leonardo did something, even if it seems like a little decoration, it is not a decoration, it has a profound meaning.
ეს იყო სიცოცხლის და ღვთაებრიობის კვერცხი და ისე ხვდებით იმ მოვლენას, რომ ლეონარდო დეკორაციისთვის არაფერს არ აკეთებდა, ის ამ ყველაფერში აზრსდებდა.
So what he does with this man like this, he's telling us maybe circle, square can be brought together in unity by human beings, by the man, the woman. The human proportion puts them together because we can fit in the square and the triangle.
ასე რომ იმას რასაც ჩვენ ხედავთ ადამიანის აგებულების ნახატზე, წრესაც და ოთხკუთხედსაც, შესაძლოა ლეონარდო მიფიქრა, რომ ადამიანის სხეული არის ის, რომელსაც შეუძლია ერთმანეთს დაუკავშიროს წრე და ოთხკუთხედი.
And now the end. Golden ratio, here and here.
ოქროს კვეთა.
This, let's assume this is a child.
ჩავთვალოთ, რომ აქეთ მხარეს ბავშვია.
And these are the parents.
Parents.
The parents.
და მარცხნივ არის
Son, father, daughter, mother.
ვაჟიშვილი, მამა, ქალიშვილი, დედა.
The child, the son, the daughter, harmoniously, with harmony. Because Leonardo is looking for harmony. All these people are looking for harmony, not for beauty. Beauty, bellezza, is a different word. In Italian, bellezza comes from bellum, war. It's not a word like we think of. Bellum, war. Yeah. So we're talking here about harmony, pulchritude, other words, not bellezza. So harmony is the closest thing. Music, harmony, harmonic proportion, divine proportion, divine harmony. The word that puts Leonardo together with this world of music and science is harmony.
ამ შემთხვევაში ლეონარდო ამ პროპორციებში ბავშვსა და მშობლებს შორის ლეონარდო ეძებდა ჰარმონიას. თუმცა ხაზი უნდა გავუსვათ იმას, რომ ჰარმონიას და არის სილამაზეს, რადგან სილამაზე იტალიურში სხვა სიტყვა არის ბელეცა, მომდინარეობს ომიდან, სიტყვა ომიდან და ის ეძებდა ღვთაებრივ პროპორციებს, ჰარმონიას და არა სილამაზეს.
So, if the son or the daughter accept the authority of the father and mother in an harmonious way, there is a chance that the family will be harmonious.
აქედან გამომდინარე, თუ შვილი ჰარმონიულად მიიღებს დედისა და მამის ავტორიტეტს, მაშინ ოჯახი იქნება ჰარმონიული.
So this segment relates to this other segment the same way both of them relate to the unity.
ასე რომ ჩვენა სეგმენტი ისეთ დამოკიდებულებაშია მარცხენასთან, როგორც თითოეული მათგანი მათ ერთიანობასთან.
The child, the parents, if the parents exercise their authority on the children in harmonious way, the family will be harmonious.
ასევე საპირისპირო მიმართულებით რომ ვნახოთ, თუ მშობლები ჰარმონიულად განახორციელებენ საკუთარ გავლენას შვილებზე, მაშინ ასევე ჰარმონიას მივიღებთ.
This concept then goes extended in many things, because you can have earth, nature, animals, plants, and humans. We are the stronger part.
ეს კონცეფცია აგრძელებს თავის განვითარებას და ისე შორს მიდის, რომ მოიცავს დედამიწას, ცხოველებს, მცენარეებს და ჩვენ სხვა მხარეს ადამიანები ვართ.
If we exercise our influence of nature and animals in an harmonious way, the unity, the earth will be fine.
თუ ჩვენ ჰარმონიულად განვახორციელებთ ჩვენს გავლენას პლანეტაზე და ცხოველებზე, მაშინ მთელი დედამიწა იქნება კარგად. ჰარმონიულად.
And this goes even for politicians. At the time, politicians wanted also the Medici, where he was, they wanted the good well-being also of their town, of their city, of their citizens. So if you have the people and the politicians, they hold the power and decide for us, if the politicians take harmonious care of the people, then the nation, the society, will work as a harmony. So this concept of number, harmony, segment, unity, or trinity brings together harmony if it is managed with harmony.
მაგალითად პოლიტიკაზე რომ წარმოვიდგინოთ, იგივე იმდროინდელი პოლიტიკისთვის მნიშვნელოვანი იყო ის, რომ თუ პოლიტიკოსები აქეთ მხარეს, აქეთი სეგმენტი ძალაუფლება დიდი რომელსაც აქვს, განახორციელებდა ჰარმონიულად თავის გავლენას ადამიანებზე, მაშინ მთელი ერთობა იქნებოდა ჰარმონიული. და ასევე ამ მიმართულებით შეგვიძლია გავაგრძელოთ ამ დამოკიდებულებების ზებნა.
Now, this obsession about the straight line and the curve, we found out only now in 1905 with Einstein.
ეს ურთიერთობა ხაზსა, სწორ ხაზსა და წრეს შორის ჩვენ მხოლოდ ახლა 1905 წელს აღმოვაჩინეთ აინშტაინთან ერთად.
That even light does not go in a straight line. It's a curve.
რომ შუქიც კი, სინათლეც კი არ მიდის სწორი ხაზის სახით. ის არის მრუდი, გამრუდებული ხაზი, ასე ვთქვათ.
So what they were spending their time, in fact, really exists. It's something we found out. Straight line, curve can be together, and there is no straight line, no curved line. They are the same thing. There is a very magic junction there. Thank you very much. Just to finish the translation. You didn't finish, right? Thank you so much. You were fantastic. That's for you.
ბოლოს განადების თარგმნა მხოლოდ უკაცრავად, ანუ იმის თქმა უნდა, რომ ის რაზეც ეს მკვლევრები და ლეონარდო ხარჯავდნენ თავიანთ დროს, მართლაც არსებობს და ახლა აღმოვაჩინეთ ეს საოცარი დამოკიდებულება ხაზსა და ბრუდას შორის და დიდი მადლობა მოგიხადა ყურადღებისთვის.
ძალიან დიდი მადლობა მინდა გადავხატო ბატონ სალვატორ მოტისანტის, რომელიც იცით ალბათ გახლავთ ერთ-ერთი ძალიან მნიშვნელოვანი საერთაშორისო ფონდის IBLA Foundation პრეზიდენტი, რომელიც ძალიან მნიშვნელოვან მუსიკალურ ღონისძიებებს ატარებს და ამისათვის ალბათ აი ყველა მუსიკოსის სახელით ეკუთვნის ძალიან დიდი მადლობა მე ჩემი მხრივ, იმიტომ რომ ძალიან დიდ საშუალებებს აძლევს მუსიკოსებს და ერთ-ერთი მთავარი რაზეც ეს ფონდი მუშაობს, ეს გახლავთ კონკურსი, რომელიც საერთაშორისო კონკურსი, რომელიც ტარდება სიცილიის ერთ-ერთ ულამაზეს მხარეში, რაგუზა იდლაში, ივლისის თვეში ყოველწლიურად და ამ კონკურსის გამარჯვებულები მიყავს მსოფლიოს გარშემო ისეთ ქვეყნებში, როგორც არის იაპონია, კიო-ჰოლი, ნიუ-იორკი, კარნეგი ჰოლი და ძალიან დიდი მადლობა მას ყველა მუსიკოსის სახელით და მე მინდა ვისარგებლო შემთხვევით და დაგპატიჟოთ დაინტერესდებით ხვალ კონსერვატორიის წინადადებაში 6 საათზე ამ კონკურსის პრიზიორთა კონცერტი შედგება და მინდა უპირველესი მადლობა გადავხატო და განსაკუთრებული მადლიერება გამოვხატო ჩვენი სახელით იტალიის საელჩოს მიმართ მხარდაჭერისათვის და რა თქმა უნდა ამ მუზეუმს, რომელმაც საშუალება მოგცა ეს თანაჩვეულებრივ გარემოში ჩაგვეტარებინა ეს საღამო და კიდევ ერთხელ უღრმესი მადლობა ბატონ სალვატორ.
Thank you. Thank you very Thank you very much for organizing it. Can I please, because lei parla georgiano e non so. E allora ci vuole anche l'interprete. I want to thank you very much to them for making this possible. It's fantastic what we have done here. And come to the concert tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Buonanotte. Grazie comunque, è un bel... È bello, vederlo così non è facile. Però è impressionante, veramente. Pronto. Sei fantastica. How do you say fantastica? Fantastica. Fantastic. Beautiful job. Fantastic. We'll see you tomorrow again, right? Thank you. She's really good. Okay. I'm going on the other side. Okay.
Picture or no?
Small.
Yes. And Leonardo transmitted this passion to all his friends. And then in between you have a flat, right? At the time, the sharp and the flat.
გოგონები შეიძლება რომ ცოტა კიდევ მოხდე სორომა
Invisible. We don't know, but it's there. You don't know that the number. Good installation. Ingrandite queste immagini, sono emozionanti. because the fact that it wasn't painting. Ecstatic. It was amazing.